Have you had a chance to log into the environment and
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Americans Partner Insider Call. This webinar will be recorded on behalf of Microsoft Corporation. If you do not wish to be recorded, please log off now. The on-demand presentation will be available in a few days on our Americans Partner Insider Hub. You will receive a thank you email with access to today's content. You are welcome to post any questions or comments in the Q&A chat in English, Spanish, Portuguese, or French. Subtitles are also available at this event. Now, let me introduce Helen Cohen, American Sales Communication Strategy Lead at Microsoft. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you're calling from. Thank you for joining our America's Partner Insider Call. As mentioned, my name is Helene Cohen, and I am the America's Communications Strategy Lead, responsible for helping deliver relevant information to you to help you drive your business and partnership with Microsoft. I want to start out today with thanking you for taking the time to be with us. These calls do occur monthly, and we're always looking for feedback and topic suggestions to make this time valuable for you. I do want to make a note that we may have a small technical glitch that is occurring, and we have some of you maybe in our speakers team link, and we have some of you in the appropriate team's live link. So for those of you that may actually be in the speakers link, you may see notes with the speakers that are chatting. Please make sure that you are on mute, and we will continue forward. So let's jump into our agenda today. We have a great agenda for you. We're going to do a couple of announcements like usual. We have a poll that we'd like to have you answer some questions for. And then we have Vince Manzioni from the Ultimate Partner Guide to Navigating Change from the Ultimate Partner Group, actually. And then we'll do a quick closing. We can move to the next slide, please. Before we get started, I just want to give everybody 2 minutes. If you could scan this QR code and take 2 minutes to answer a few questions. We'll also put a direct link to these questions in the chat. These are just some basic questions about your business, your partner business, things like what customer segment you focus on, what type of partner you are, if you have an industry practice, etc. There's about 5 or 6, maybe 7 questions in there. Should take only a minute to 2. And by you answering these questions, it really helps, number one, for us to continue figuring out what programming would be best and what sessions would be best for this audience, as well as it helps our speaker today understand who he's speaking to. So if you could take 1 moment, I'm going to just give you a minute to do that, and then I will come back and continue on with the rest of the session. Again, just a note, if you have joined and you are seeing speaker notes or speaker chat from me, please make sure your phone is on mute. And again, we're just taking a moment to fill out this short set of poll questions. All right, we are going to keep moving forward. You could fill out those questions at any time. And like I mentioned, there is a notice in the chat as well for a direct link. Our next Partner Insider call will be on April 3rd, and we have some incredible speakers that are going to be talking about security with AI. We know Copilot is top of mind for all of our partners, and you are not going to want to miss this session. All right, moving forward, please. Couple of announcements. It's that time of year again for Partner of the Year awards. Make sure that you're thinking through this and that you are getting ready to submit. There'll be 45 awards specifically for the Americas. So make sure that you take an opportunity to attend one of these sessions that we are going to have that are listed on the screen in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. To learn how to, create a great nomination and have a chance to win one of those Partner of the Year awards. Okay, moving forward. In early February, we reopened the security threat protection engagement for new customer nominations. This deck will be available to you. I'm not going to read through this slide, so you're certainly welcome to, download the deck and take a look at this. Any Microsoft Cloud partners that are enrolled in MCI and have a security designation are eligible to nominate your customers and deliver this multi-threat protection engagement. There's also additional information that can be found in Partner Center. Moving forward. Next slide, please. So I'm super excited about this. We are having our first ever Culture of Trust event, tailored specifically for our GPS partners, our America's GPS partners. This will be on Tuesday, April 2nd, and we will be coming together with key leaders, including Nina Harding, who's the CVP of the America's GPS, and Katie Brown, who's our CVP of Enterprise Sales. Together, we'll be having really great discussions around responsible AI, proactive compliance, and the cultivation of a trust-centric culture. So make sure you take a moment, register for that, and please join us. We can move forward to the next slide. Thank you. The blogs. This is just a list of our most current blogs. Oop, back one, please. Thank you. Please check out our blogs. I like to call attention to our one of our most visited blogs is the blog around the America's Partner Enablement News. This is where we have updated events that are happening for enablement for all of you. So we update that twice a month. Definitely check that out, and you can get all of those relevant trainings on your schedule. We also will have a new blog to share with you. If you haven't been to our blog site, please do check it out. We just started something called the Top 3. So every week you'll see the top 3 stories and the top 3 things that we would like to share with you. So hoping to provide a little bit of clarity and a little bit of simplification around maybe what things you'll be able to focus on each week. Okay, moving forward, please. Next slide. Again, please stay connected with us. Since we've moved to the Americas, we are very excited to see our LATAM and Canadian partners joining our LinkedIn site. So please, continue to join, continue to have the conversation there. We love hearing from you, and we love having that communication. One other thing I always bring up in every call is that you will note that we do have a, next slide, sorry. We have what we call a taxonomy that we are using. If we can move forward to the next slide. There we go. You should be able to see in all of our social posts specifically. We have it throughout our newsletters as well. But we've included a taxonomy slide so that you can find content that's relevant to you based on your role, based on the type of partner you are, or based on the type of content you're interested in. If we could move to the next slide. This just shows us a quick example of where you will see that taxonomy showing up in some of our different communications. So for example, if you're in LinkedIn and you happen to be a CSP, feel free to search on hashtag CSP to bring up any relevant posts around CSP. All right, moving forward to our next slide, we have a quick video from Nina Harding, our CVP of the Americas Global Partner Solutions. If we could put that video up, that would be great. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to welcome you all to this month's event. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We're thrilled to have you with us. We're here to share some of the insights and help strengthen our collaboration. You are absolutely the backbone of our success, and we appreciate so much your commitment and trust in us. As our partners, you help us deliver innovative solutions, empower our customers, and create positive impact in the world. Today, you will hear from Vince Mazzioni, who is an expert on partnering with Microsoft. He will share with you some valuable tips and best practices on how to navigate changes as a Microsoft partner in this dynamic and competitive market. During today's call, you'll be able to ask questions via the chat, which is kind of fun, right? We hope that this event will inspire you, inform you, and answer your questions. We are here to support you and grow with you, and we want to hear from you. When the event is over, we hope you'll share your feedback with us. We value your input and suggestions. Please take a moment to fill out the survey. We really, really value that feedback. Once again, thank you for being here. We are excited to have you part of our partner community. Please enjoy the event and have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you, Nina. Okay, so on to our main presentation today. I'd like to introduce Vince Mazzioni from the Ultimate Partner Group, a personal friend of mine, and also many of you are familiar with Vince's great work and his knowledge of the partner ecosystem and really how to build your businesses and move them forward. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Vince, and let's go.
Okay. Helene, thank you so much. It warms my heart to be here today with all of you. Thank you, Nina, for that great welcome. I don't know if I would call myself an expert, but we'll take it at this point, and looking forward to the time with each of you today. My name is Vince Menzione, and today we're going to talk about a topic that is so near and dear to my heart. It's around partnering with Microsoft. And I'm having trouble moving this. Hold on, sorry. Here we go. Could I ask, I'm having trouble with the controls, I'm sorry.
Are you unable to move them forward? What's happening?
Yeah, yeah, it's not, sorry.
It's not working. Okay. Steph or Gina, could you please provide support to Vince?
Sure.
I've always said that Murphy lives in a presentation. Murphy's Law. It worked during the rehearsal. So.
Yes, Vince.
Oh, you know what I requested? Maybe did a request go through? Oh, it's you know what? I'm not controlling, so it didn't go through. That's probably what happened.
Here it is. You tell
Okay.
me when you can.
It's not showing in slide mode. Do I need? Oh, I need to go hit the slide mode, right? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Yes. Yes, it's working. All right, we can get started. Sorry for the technical glitch. Hopefully this doesn't happen when you're using Microsoft applications. We're going to talk about a favorite topic of mine, partnering. It is my most favorite topic. It is the passion in which I have driven the work that I've done. You see, I've described my career as 4 successful business transformations. I'm on to my 5th one. I started up in the early days of wireless computing, helped grow a company to 125 million. We went public on the Toronto Exchange. I did a turnaround where I built a channel and an ecosystem. We were an OEM to Microsoft and learned quite a bit about partnering there, even though partnering was always in my DNA. Microsoft recruited me, and for 9 years, I was the general manager of the U.S. public sector partner business, which was, when I left, a $4.6 billion business across federal government, state and local, education, and healthcare. In fact, we were the very first vertical within Microsoft before Microsoft got highly verticalized. I learned a lot about how to operate with Microsoft during that time. When I left Microsoft, I recognized that organizations, I had worked so closely with all of the top partners in the Microsoft ecosystem or network at that time, and I recognized that partners often failed and struggled. And so I started up what I'm doing now, and I'll take you through that individually here, but I want to just share that it's just been an incredible ride. This is how we got here. So when I left Microsoft, I thought I was going to go work for another big tech giant, but I started a podcast. Podcasts were just becoming a thing 7 years ago, February 27th, 2017. I launched Ultimate Guide to Partnering, a podcast mic in my spare bedroom, interviewing friends at that time within the Microsoft sphere, trying to help partners decode how to be more successful. It's been an incredible ride. I talk about the 10,000 hours, this journey of interviewing so many amazing leaders at Microsoft, people like Alyssa Taylor, Heather Dagans, Nina Harding, Julie Sanford. I can go on about all of the great leaders within the Microsoft ecosystem, pinnacle partners, the top award-winning partners, to help you decode how they got to that point, how you can drive your trajectory forward, and also sharing all voices. I became very deliberate because I recognized that there were so many unrepresented people of different groups, people of color, women were underrepresented in the technology sector. So I was very deliberate about providing that voice. And it's been an always-on channel. And the whole thought behind it was, in fact, that it was going to provide, and it has provided, regular guidance for you, right? We have the big Microsoft Inspire conference. We have other things that we do like this call, but every week after week, providing you the most useful and relevant insights to help you achieve your greatest results through successful partnering. We've been a top podcast. I'm proud of the work we do. We continue to work to up-level the game at Ultimate Guide to Partnering and the Ultimate Partner. And so we'll continue. I'll share a little bit more about where that's all going, because it's a really exciting time right now. I want to ground us in a moment in history. I love history, and I love how certain moments have defined history. So I live here in South Florida, for any of you who don't know, and I live about 45 minutes from Boca Raton, Florida. Well, on August 12th of 1981, I call it the Boca Raton moment, because this is a moment I believe that changed time and history and got us to where we are today. And if you think back before that, technology was sold directly from manufacturers. It was mostly hardware with some software specialized to that hardware. Think IBM mainframes, DEC mini computers, and the like. Bill Gates came down to Boca Raton and signed an agreement with IBM, who was releasing their first PC out of Boca Raton on that date. And he had a decision to make. He could sell the software to IBM, but he decided to license it to IBM. And they also licensed the components around the computer so that other builders could build computers. And that, to me, sparked the ecosystem. As we've been talking about ecosystem and Microsoft Network and just this world of partnerships that we all live in today, that moment defined the future in that it opened up the doors to other makers. Michael Dell started making PCs in his dorm room. Compaq was the fastest company to $1 billion back in that time frame. You remember those luggable computers that they were making way back in the day, right? If you're old enough like I am, you remember that. The software became a thing. Software wasn't marketed independently of hardware before that. So Lotus Notes and 123 and all these applications came to be, and Microsoft became both an application company and an operating system company. And we know that story and that rise to the top valuation of any company today. But it all started with a moment in time. And I think many of us, especially those who weren't around during that time, don't recognize that all of these things happened, right? The ISVs happened, the cloud happened, and we've gotten to a point in time. And I want to talk about this point in time because I have a very strong point of view about it. I believe that there is one ecosystem, and we have all been living through, tectonic shifts. I remember getting up at a channel event 12 or 14 years ago and talking about the cloud to a bunch of people who were doe-eyed, selling PCs and Targus bags and saying, you need to come on board. You need to take advantage of this moment. We're moving forward with cloud computing. Microsoft is investing in Azure. And if you don't come on board now, you're going to miss the opportunity. That was a long time ago. But and so we've been living through this rapid change really since that period of time. And what I would say is the last few years I've described, in fact, 4 years ago, it all started happening around COVID. I refer to these as the tectonic shifts, right? So COVID, as a period of time, really, we accelerated transformation. We were doing some of the things that we're doing now, but we weren't doing them as rapidly, and they hadn't been embraced in the way into our culture, into our society, and into our lives the way they are now, right? I mean, how many of you click on your phone 3 times and a box shows up at the end of the day? I do that just about every day. How many of you have experienced telehealth since COVID? What about learning from home and other things that we now take for granted? Our remote work environment, being on calls like this versus going into an office every day. The world has shifted tremendously. Satya Nadella has said we saw 7 years of transformation in 7 months during that period of time, in fact. And so we're continuing to see transformation, but we're also seeing shifts, right? We're going through 2 wars right now. It's a very troubling time in our world. We've still been seeing economic headwinds. In fact, in the tech industry, there were 439,000 tech layoffs just last year. I know Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, everyone has been impacted there. And what's that also said is to you as partners and to internally into the organization like Microsoft is you need to do more with less. You need to go figure out how to be successful on your own. No longer can you rely on the fact that you have maybe a partner development manager assigned to you. But where do you go to get the skilling, the training, the go-to-market, and the resources to be successful? The next big thing that's been happening is around, if you've been noticing, I look at this universe. The pyramid is the ISVs in the middle of it, right? There's probably about 20,000 if you really dig in on Microsoft's business model. And these numbers aren't representative. It's a little bit of a dated slide. But everyone is surrounding that same ecosystem of ISVs, selling partners, SIs, transacting partners, MSPs, and so on. That is the ecosystem as we know it, right? There's product, there's services, there's other value that organizations bring to it. What we're really starting to see now is really the dominance of the hyperscaler, right? Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, the big three. Microsoft certainly in a lead role in many respects across both platform, across applications, and of course across infrastructure as a service or Azure. But here's the thing that's really changed over the last few years. The dynamic has changed. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, between the three, are now negotiating contracts at the C-suite level. The decisions are being made at the C-suite. And what that means is the CEO is now the new CIO, and buying is happening in a different way. Organizations are making very significant cloud commitments, billion-dollar cloud commitments in the Fortune 500 ranks, and even within some of the large ISV organizations. And between the three hyperscalers, there are $340 billion in durable cloud budgets that are now there. And what's really interesting about that is it's created a new opportunity. And I'll go into this next moment here around marketplaces. So co-selling, I remember years ago when I was part of the early pilot with co-selling at Microsoft, we were trying to get sellers interested in selling with some of our partners. And we created some new unique metrics and measurements and incentives around those things. But co-selling has really become an important and dominant thing working with Microsoft. It's even more important now than ever. And the other thing that got layered onto it this year, we hosted an event. In fact, we'll talk a little bit more about what we did this past year, but marketplaces have become a defining and dominant force in Microsoft's co-selling strategy. In fact, Microsoft said to the world last year, we're going to lower our fees down to 3%. We're going to make it easy to transact, easy to consume our partners' solutions and services through marketplaces. And then this year they said, if you want to be co-sell eligible, you need to have a transactable marketplace offer. Well, that's created a huge opportunity because what it says to you is if you're an ISV or a solution provider or whatever services you maybe are working with Microsoft on, you get access to those durable budgets. And Microsoft doesn't break out its numbers the way the other two do, but we know that Microsoft, including both its applications and its IaaS, has roughly about $220 billion in commitments from customers. So there's this opportunity around marketplaces that didn't exist. And it's a defining moment. It's an important moment. And it's continuing it's rapidly accelerating is what I would say. Last year when we started talking about this, Canalys, which is an industry analyst firm, said we were going to see $45 billion flow through marketplaces, 80% of that through the large hyperscalers. And what happened is they said they undercalled it. Instead of it being 2025, it's actually this year. We're going to see 45 billion flow through these marketplaces, through these budgets. And Tackle.io, which is a big marketplace software company, an enabler of marketplace for ISVs and others, they're predicting it's going to be $100 billion. So this is rapidly accelerating. It's changing the game. In fact, I'm speaking at a channel conference next week to 8,500 people about why they need to come on board as well. This is an important moment, and marketplaces are redefining.
Vince, sorry, you are muted.
Just happened?
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
we have it back.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't me. So as I was saying, the transactions, the $100 billion in durable in marketplace by the end of next year. And what I said just recently was that 5 companies just this past year, 2023, reached $1 billion in transactions, transactable offers through marketplaces. Some of those were CrowdStrike, Snowflake, and a few others, and one of them actually didn't do a press release, but 4 of them did a press release. And what's that saying to the market is that the marketplace is becoming a new channel. It's almost becoming a form of distribution where Microsoft is doing the billing on behalf. And really, candidly, the transaction itself is the lowest value, where you as partners, and this is where the ecosystem concept comes in, the customer is not making a decision with one vendor. We're moving away from the one throat to choke approach. In fact, both the changes in the dynamic and in the buying behavior, the move to more of a millennial buying behavior, and also the buyer who's buying in the line of business, looking and stitching together their own solutions, says that there are probably 6, 7, or 8 seats at the table. There are multiple organizations that they're working with in order to make their buying decisions. And then you need to come together as an ecosystem to solve for that. So we're starting to see the technology evolve. There are excellent software products out there like PartnerTap and others, where you can marry up your selling strategy with a partner organization, and maybe it's multiple partner organizations, and Partner Centered allows for some of this as well, where you can define your strategy working in an account to be inclusive of the ecosystem that the customer is wanting to buy from. So putting it all together. So with all of this change going on, how do we ensure we're staying on top of things, right? So I have a very strong point of view that says this requires a lot of help, a lot of work in order to do this. And I'm having trouble again. Here we go. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. But I did want to spend a moment here. You see, the work we did with the podcast also led to, being a laboratory for us. And we identified and we talk about how partners could be more successful by applying a set of principles. And at Ultimate Partner, we espouse a set of operating principles around what makes successful partnering. There are 7 principles of success that we talk about. We talk about a framework, and we try to align all the work we do in the tactics and supporting partners to, in fact, these set of principles. I'm going to go through them very quick. This alone could be a 45-minute presentation, but I just want to highlight for you what those principles are and maybe who some of the people are in the room that support that. The first principle is around growth mindset. And we believe that every organization that wants to be successful partnering needs to apply a growth mindset. This is, of course, the most successful, the most accolades across any CEO, I think, of a generation, Satya Nadella, the work that he's done at Microsoft, how he's brought a growth mindset. And I could spend an hour here telling you what I saw when I was in the room working with people like Dr. Michael Gervais and some of the success that they had changing the culture at Microsoft with this growth mindset, leading with empathy and so on. But I think the most important thing to notice is that Satya said, we're not going to compete with everyone. We're going to partner. He made partner first, his mindset. And in the last year, we all got a masterclass from Satya Nadella on partnering. His partnership with OpenAI, which started in 2018, really changed the game this past year, and also how he has helped them navigate and built and has leaned in on Copilot and OpenAI and all of the fabric and all the other technologies that now Microsoft is providing uniquely. It's really changing the game. The next principle of successful partnering is around executive commitment. I could spend, again, a lot of time here talking about this. This is Kevin Piesker, one of the Microsoft executives, the man who runs the mid-market opportunity, SMC, at Microsoft, where I think many of you know and operate. Kevin has an incredible commitment. I believe that organizations, what we've found from all the interviews we've done, the successful partners, is the ones that are most successful, the ones that the executive team, the C-suite, buy into partnership. They understand that partnering is important. They understand that it's about trust. It's about coming together. It's not a transactional moment. It is building a strategy for success. The third principle is around value and vision. See, if you're going to be successful partnering, you need to have a vision for success within your own organization. And then when you lock arms with another partner, you need to apply that vision and that long-term value that you're trying to decide. What is the one thing, big, bold, and different, that you're going to go do different in this partnership, whether it's with Microsoft or with another partner? The next area of focus is around brand and story. certainly an important area of focus. This is Dux Raymond-Sy. If you've been around Microsoft any period of time, Dux is one of the most successful partners. He's an ISV, AvePoint Solutions. Dux has been a guest on the podcast 4 times. He spoke at our conference. And building your brand and story, working with Microsoft, super important. I like to talk about being a shiny quarter in a bucket full of shiny quarters. You see, if you want to stand out as a Microsoft partner, you need to be known for that one thing that you do differently, and you need to execute against that and build your flywheel against that, and building your brand and story both with Microsoft as in a co-selling fashion, with all the people you work with at Microsoft, with your customers, and with the markets you serve. Super important to strategy. The next principle, and this is Dr. Michael Gervais, who I spoke about earlier, who is the sports psychologist. He was with the Seattle Seahawks. He works with Olympic athletes, executives like Satya Nadella. Been a guest on my podcast 4 times. Someone who understands and does a lot of work about human psychology and how to drive results. And one of the principles that we drive together is the principles that he exudes around vision, around value, around your brand strategy, and also how do you think differently about your organization as you come together. Once you have aligned your growth mindset, your executive commitment, you've locked down on your I didn't talk about maniacal focus yet. So I skipped over maniacal focus, critical to success. You see, organizations that are successful stay very focused on their execution. They ensure they have a good communication flow with the partner that they work with, whether it be Microsoft or other partners, and then they drive against that. Once you drive that, the next piece is to then go build your business up and get the results. And this is a woman by the name of Erin Feiger from Tackle. They're an organization that helps Microsoft partners be more successful. They help them build their flywheel, their operating principles around that. And then the last principle is, once you have done all these things successfully and you build the most successful practice working with Microsoft, or a successful ecosystem approach to your business, things change. You need to stay agile. So you need to pivot when things change. This is Anthony Joseph from the Marketplace organization. I talked about that one thing that changed this year. Microsoft introduced Marketplace as a principle. And so having the agility to change your practices, even though you've been successful in the past, is critical to success. And that's the top of the flywheel here. We'll provide these slides. You'll see a little bit of the graphics here. But these are at a very snapshot level, the 7 principles to unlock a success as a partner. So how do I show up? How do I find all this information, right? One of the concerns I have, I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. I speak at sessions like this. I speak at live events. Is there's so much noise coming at you. In fact, there's so many different places where you can go. So where do you go to find out the information that's most relevant to you as a Microsoft partner? Now, certainly you come here, right? So this is a great call. Helene, kudos for driving this ecosystem, this partner insider call. But what about when you need more? Where do you go there? And I get DMs, calls, outreach every day from Microsoft partners looking to be more successful. And how do you do that in a scalable way? We try to do through the podcast. We've been super successful with the results of the podcast. We think that this opportunity is huge. I talked about the opportunity. I do think that partners need to have an always-on channel. They need guidance from Microsoft in almost an always-on fashion, because things are changing more rapidly than just the cadence of communication cycles that we see at a Microsoft Inspire conference, or even in circumstances like this. And, there hasn't been a community. There hasn't been like one place where you can go. Yes, you can come to Microsoft and be on calls like this, but where else do I go? Where else do I show up? And so we have seen that as a gap. At least I've seen it in the 7 years since I left Microsoft and started venturing out to be a voice of authority around partnering and the success of partnering. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the journey there and what we've done to help solve for some of this. About 1.5 years ago, this is going back into the summer of 2022, I recognized that the podcast was successful. We were doing a lot of great good, but it was a podcast channel. And only, if you do the analysis work, only 12% of people consume podcasts, and audio format, and you're competing there's a lot of other podcasts, great podcasts out there. and you're basically vying for shelf space in terms of getting your message across. And we recognized that I wanted to bring in some of the experts that I knew into the room to help partners be more successful. So we decided to do our first event. I decided to, as Ultimate Partnerships at the time, to pull together some of the people that I knew were the best in the business, the best at what they did. We called them the Partner Dream Team. And we hosted an event. We bolted on an event to a Microsoft Dynamics conference in October of 2022. And we realized that it was a critical success. We sold out. We had great interaction with partners. We had Microsoft leaders in the room. People like Dan Rippey did our keynote. We had people from at the time it was the US or the Americas partner marketing team. Pam Salzer, Deanna Ishak was there. We had a great 2 days of sessions, and we helped the partners get to the how. You see, when Microsoft does an event like Inspire, it's a lot of the what and why, but we helped them get to the how. We realized after that we wanted to do more in this fashion. So we were debating what to do next. We knew Inspire was going to be, last year was going to be digital only with some pop-ups after Inspire, with various leaders in various cities. So we decided to do a digital event. We called it Winning the Ecosystem. And in July 2023, the day after Inspire, we hosted this digital event, about 9 hours of content. We had 4 fireside chats. Nina joined us, Kevin Piesker from the SMC business, one of the leaders from the marketplace. We basically mirrored the priority areas that Microsoft talked about, but we did that deep dive. We took it down a level to help decode for people watching this and viewing it how they needed to be more successful. We even did 2 workshop sessions where some of those leaders that I pointed to in the last slide came in to do a session on go-to-market strategy and co-selling strategy. We even spotlighted a Pinnacle partner. It was a terrific, and we had some other experts that were outside of Microsoft speak about this transformation we're seeing in marketplaces and ecosystem and so on. It was a terrific event, got huge accolades. And the one thing everyone said to me afterwards is, that was terrific, but we really want to be in person. We really want to be together in the room. And so how are you going to help us solve this? And in 120 days, actually less than 120 days, about 100 days, we put together a live event. We hosted an event in the Las Colinas facility of Microsoft. We co-hosted that event. Kevin Piesker runs the SMC business at Microsoft, which is roughly about a $70 billion business, 6,000 employees. The mid-market of Microsoft is a little bit of a misnomer about, I call it the acre of diamonds, huge opportunity for you as partners. It's one of the big priorities. It's about where 75% of the investment dollars for incentives are going for partners is in this SMC market, and they're building their muscle to go do co-selling. Where in the enterprise, Microsoft has been very strong on co-selling. SMC, not so much. So we were there to help build a muscle. Kevin hosted an event the first day. He did a town hall, and then we sold out the facility. We had 300 people. We probably could have had 600 people. And we had this incredible agenda, which you probably can't see it on the slide, but when you get the slide, you'll see it. We had 16 sessions. We had 14 hours of digital content. We had leaders like Heather Dagans. Nina did a video for us. We had Kevin Piesker. We had other leaders from the organization come in, and we basically laid out the how. We talked about the opportunity areas. We laid down how to do MSEM. How do you align with Microsoft's selling strategy? How to do marketplace. How do you think about marketplace across as an ISV, a transactional partner, an SI? How do you think across that? We talked about diversity and inclusion. We talked about some of the leadership principles around that as an example. And this event was just off the charts successful. We did a survey afterwards. We got a 96% SAT score. We were super proud. By the way, when you're doing a live event, you're doing something you've never done before, and you do it in 100 days, anything can happen. But we were super successful with the event. And 100% of the people that attended the event said that they would come back again. So we will be bringing back, we might even be in Las Colinas again this fall, early fall, to deliver that live event. So I am a huge fan of Walt Disney. I have some leaders that I think about, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, but Walt Disney as a visionary, as a creator and a business person stands out in many respects for me. And I've been studying some of the things that he's done, and certainly building the Disney brand and the Disney business. And one thing that stands out for me is this date in history, July 17th, 1955. I know that Helene probably doesn't live that far away from Anaheim, California. I think she's in the Irvine area. But this is where, over a 7 or 8 year span, this gentleman created something that didn't exist before. He created a new category of one. And he had a vision. He had a dream that he was leading against. And it was a bold vision. And he created something that was unique, a place like no other, right? It was the happiest place. It became everybody's happiest place. And then he went and he did that again in Florida. Unfortunately, he passed away right before, actually a couple of years before Disney World opened. At the grand opening of Disney World, a reporter asked his brother Roy, who was running the business at the time, isn't it a shame that Walt wasn't here? And he said, well, wasn't here to see this day. He said, Walt saw this day so that you can see it now. And I just think that that is like, wow. Like he was a visionary about the future. He had dreams of building a city of the future, which, you know, at Epcot was supposed to be. But this gentleman had a vision for a future. And I look up to that level of success that he's had and say, why can't we do more in the world of partnering? So I'm going to start here for a second. I had the privilege of being in the room with Dr. Michael Gervais. I was part of the early pilot with Michael, even before Satya, even before he worked with Satya. And by the way, if you read Satya's book, Hit Refresh, page 5, he talks about how Michael came in the room and they landed on their own unique purpose. And he said, Michael, I want to stop here. I want to know every one of my leaders' true purpose, because we have a big, bold mission we're going to align to. And I need everybody aligned to that mission. And Michael was just on my podcast. He was guest number 200. He's released a book, by the way, that's a bestseller. Finding Mastery is his podcast. If you listen to him, he's just a terrific leader. And he said something to me about aligning my mission with Microsoft's vision. And it went off like a light bulb that day. And that we decided, we knew it was there, but we articulated it. So the ultimate partner and my mission is to help empower you, help empower every individual, organization, and partner to achieve their greatest potential through successful partnering. Now, we think that there are several ways to help you get there. And we're going to continue to do the things that we've been doing, pivoting the company. You see, I had been doing individual advisory work for clients, and candidly, I wanted to be able to do more. I wanted to be able to provide a place, almost like Walt Disney created a place where organizations can come, where you can come to be your most success, to be the ultimate partner. And so where we're going next is we're taking the work that we did last year and we're amping it up. We have taken the podcast, in fact, to full video production. We have a production facility now in Boca Raton, Florida, of all places, the place where Bill Gates came to meet with IBM when they had their PC headquarters back there. We're producing content and podcasts there. We'll also use it to host events, and whether they be closed circuit type events for our community, or whether they'll just be for everyone to consume. We're gonna continue to have this content on and bring all the top leaders in the room. And I'm creating a big tent. I want everyone that is a leader in this industry to come. And I want everyone that needs the help and guidance that from Microsoft and from other leaders to be able to come into this room, this what we're calling the ultimate partner experience. We're going to continue to do live and virtual events. We are trying to land, Microsoft just made its announcements last week around what they're going to do around Inspire and Ignite. And we want to make sure we're very thoughtful and working with Microsoft on what that looks like next, and standing up, hopefully, as successful an event as we did with our live event last year in Las Colinas. We might do it in Las Colinas. We might do it in a hotel. We haven't decided yet. It depends on where we think we're going to go in terms of capacity. And then we're also going to do smaller pop-up events. We have in our Boca Raton facility, we have the ability to host small groups of partners and leaders in the room. And so I'm in the process of putting together our first in-person event there. We're looking at the last week of May, and we're hoping to get about 20 partners in the room with about I'll say a smaller subset of those Microsoft leaders that we talked about earlier that were part of our live event, and some of those experts that are part of our community. And with that, we've also created a membership portal. We're calling it Ultimate Partner Experience because we think it's like nothing else out there. It is a true community portal. You can go in there today and you can watch all that digital content. We have professionally produced all of the videos from the last two events we did, the Winning with Ecosystems event and the live event. And so all of that great content, all of those really relevant speeches from people like Kevin Piesker and Alvaro Siles and Heather Dagans and Dan Rippey and others are all there for your consumption as a member. And then we're also going to host events there. So you'll be able to come in. We're going to do a monthly Ask Me Anything call with me and a group of experts. We're going to do other live events. We even have the ability to offer courses. And so we have a few experts out there that work around, whether it's ISVs, SIs, or channel. They're going to be building out their courses on there. And so as a member of the community, you'll be able to consume all of this great content. We're bringing it all together in one room to help you be the most successful you can be. And I want to live up to this mission, which is my purpose, is to help drive that success. And I'm dedicating the next 10 years of my life to that. And so with that, I would love for you to come on board. I'd love for you to join what we're doing. We have like incredible content. We believe we're going to build a community like no other, where all of the partners in the ecosystem that really mirrors the ecosystem, ISVs, SIs, transactional partners, MSPs, GSIs, and more, all come to help achieve their greatest results working together, sharing information. There's chat in this. There's discussion boards within this portal. There's an opportunity to do so much more together versus my just speaking to you today. And we come to these calls. And I love this, by the way, but we have certain limitations on what we can do in this type of format. This will be a format where you can come to all the time to help you be part of this what we hope to be the future of partnering. So with that, Helene, I'm going to turn it back over to you in almost in Disneyland's hometown over there, right? You're just down the road.
I am. You are correct. Thank you, Vince, so much. I think if those of you that did not get an opportunity to attend the session in Dallas, take that opportunity to listen to those sessions. We did hear from many partners that it was invaluable. Again, thank you, Vince, for joining us. If we could move to the next slide, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for joining us today. I do appreciate everyone's patience. We had a slight glitch in having some of you attend the call in one part of Teams and some of you in another. So thanks for your patience on that. If we can go to the next slide. We did also include the link to the deck that you can download today. And we will also, as noted in the beginning of the call, one more slide, please. We also to the last slide, please. We also will be sending an email in about a week's time, a thank you email that will have all of the information on how to watch all of our calls that we've done so far since December on demand. So again, thank you. I can't get my last slide up for some reason, but the last slide says, there you go. Thank you, muchas gracias, and merci. Everybody have a great rest of the week. And again, thank you for taking the time and thank you for your patience today. Bye-bye.